Chris Josephs, the mastermind behind the Nancy Pelosi stock tracker, has been making waves by exposing the shady dealings of politicians and their stock trades. Chris's background is in finance, and he used to work in New York City, but he got tired of the grind and moved to Bali to work on his family's sports compression products business. He later became a snowboard instructor in New Hampshire, but when COVID hit, he moved back in with his family and shifted his focus to building an app with his co-founders. The app, which allows people to invest like a politician, has gained a lot of popularity, and Chris has become a thorn in the side of politicians like Nancy Pelosi. Chris's app has been tracking Pelosi's trades since 2021, and she's up 87% since then, outperforming the S&P by 50%. He's also pointed out that Pelosi's net worth has gone from $20 million to $260 since the Stock Act was passed, and that she's been making some very savvy trades, including one that netted her a 54% return last year. But Chris isn't just trying to make money off of politicians' shady dealings. He's trying to highlight the hypocrisy and corruption that's going on in Washington. One of the most egregious examples of this is the story of Senator Richard Burr, who sold off his entire retirement account just before the market crashed in 2020. Burr was the head of the Senate Intelligence Committee at the time, and he had access to information that the general public didn't. He made a phone call to his brother-in-law, who then sold off his own portfolio, and it looks like a clear case of insider trading. But despite an investigation by the CSC and the DOJ, no charges were ever filed. Chris's app has also been tracking the trades of other politicians, including Dan Crenshaw, who has been accused of insider trading. Crenshaw's portfolio is up around 48–50%, and he's been buying stocks like Meta and Amazon. However, Chris is frustrated with Crenshaw because he's been pushing for a ban on TikTok while owning Meta, which is TikTok's main competitor. Crenshaw then voted against the bill to ban TikTok, which Chris thinks is a clear example of corruption. The conversation also touched on the topic of war stocks, with Chris explaining that companies like Lockheed Martin, General Dynamics, and Raytheon Technologies are profiting from war. He notes that politicians like Mark Wayne Mullen, who sits on the Armed Services Committee, own stocks in these companies, which is a clear conflict of interest. Chris also discussed the idea of politicians putting their investments into blind trusts, which he thinks is a good idea. He mentioned that there are bills in Congress that aim to ban politicians from trading stocks, but that they are often watered down or killed in committee. The conversation turned to the topic of trust in institutions, with Chris noting that people are losing faith in politicians due to their actions. He believes that transparency and accountability are key to restoring trust.
Tucker Carlson agreed, suggesting that people need to decide to be better and not take everything they can.
Chris proposed a solution to the problem, suggesting that politicians should file their financial disclosures on the same day, rather than having a 45-day delay. He also suggested that politicians should be banned from trading companies they oversee, or that they should invest in a blind trust or major ETFs. The conversation also touched on the topic of COVID and the PPP loans that were given out. Chris pointed out that Nancy Pelosi's company made $5 in profit from these loans, and it's disgusting. He thinks it's messed up that politicians can benefit from these loans while regular people have to pay them back. Chris is fighting against this corruption, and he hopes to get rich doing it. He's trying to build a system that allows people to invest their money in a way that reflects their values, and he's not afraid to speak out against the corruption that he sees. He's doing some great things, like creating a Pelosi tracker on Metaband, which was banned after the first week. Undeterred, Chris created the Politician Trade Tracker, which is now on Instagram. He credits Elon Musk's X platform for saving the day, allowing citizen journalists to do their thing and uncover stories that might not have been reported otherwise. The conversation highlights the importance of social media in spreading information and holding politicians accountable. It also touches on the challenges of navigating the ever-changing media landscape, where big tech companies like Google are actively suppressing certain viewpoints. Chris appreciates the opportunity to share his thoughts and is grateful for the platform. He's proud of the work being done by citizen journalists on X and thinks it's a game changer for the way we consume information. His app has gained a lot of popularity, and he's become a thorn in the side of politicians like Nancy Pelosi. He's fighting against corruption and hopes to get rich doing it, and he's not afraid to speak out against the corruption that he sees. He's doing some great things, and his work is a testament to the power of citizen journalism. To access the complete 20-minute summary and unlock detailed insights for each topic discussed in the video, please subscribe to Quick Podcast Summaries on Spotify and Apple Podcasts with free trial, and later, just for the price of candy in most places. Happy listening.